Hello, welcome to Show and Tell the podcast. Stacey's not here today, so I can sing.
Oh.
She always tells me off.
Yeah.
Don't
know why.
No.
Such a voice of an angel.
Thank you, my love. It is Mel and Monty here with you today for our Show and Tell podcast. We're the home of conversations that connect women.
Yes.
And that's what we tell everyone that we are, and so we're telling you now too. We're connecting you through this. Chin, 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 wag. Stace is not here. Her beautiful grandma passed.
Yeah.
And she's pulling together all photos and stuff for the funeral that is happening. So we said, you know what? We're such good people to you, Stace. You can have this day off. No, you're slacking off. What are those tears for? Man up. Anyway, her nan's so beautiful. I grew up with her nan as well, and I called her Nan and Pa. And they're just one of my greatest fears when I was growing up has always been my grandparents passing. And it would always be my pa's going to die. And then Stacey lived in America for so long, and she was always like, if her grandparents die, I'm just going to have to move home because it was that big a deal.
Yeah.
And then they pass, and it's unbelievably sad, but we go on.
Yeah,
it just is so, like, my grandparents brought me up with my mum, and Stacey's grandparents were very much involved in Stacey's life as well. And Stacey's recently bought her grandma's house, like the family home that they'd always been in. So it's really just a sad time. And, you know, when people die from old age and you go, well, they've lived a really great life, it still fucking hurts.
It's still so sad. I think it's easier to maybe celebrate their life.
That's exactly what Stacey said. I feel like we can celebrate Nan because it's not like she was ripped off in any which way.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, so that's quite sad.
Yeah.
We start off our potties with quick questions. Melissa.
Yes.
What's today's
quick question?
Yes.
Is what is your greatest fear?
Heavy one. What's your greatest fear? Where to start?
So many to choose.
Remember once you spoke about how whenever you drive over a bridge, you put the windows down in case you...
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that's a fear. I think that's more of a superstition. I wouldn't say I'm not scared to drive over a bridge, but just as a precaution, I've got the window down just in case I'm going over water and I survive the fall.
Yes.
The thought of being trapped in a car underwater is...
I mean, you just have every which scenario covered whenever you do anything. But Sam's, my sister-in-law, messaged me because she listens to our podcast, and she said there would be more chance of a bird flying into Mel's car if she ever thought about a bird coming in through her open window. And I'm like, do not give her something else to worry about.
Now I'm going to, although I've had some close calls with birds. You know when it looks like they're going to hit your windscreen and you just sort of keep going but flinch, but they never do.
I do that when they're on the road. I'm like, oh, I'm going to hit that pigeon, and then I just close my eyes.
No, they're so ballsy. They don't give a shit.
I know, they're such fucking
your time.
Arrogant creatures,
I know,
aren't they?
They're the worst. Well, my biggest fears... Of course, number one is something happening to my kids. I think that would be any parents. And flying airplanes. Like, ridiculously scared. Even I sort of live under a flight path. I don't even like hearing them go over the house because I can see like that scene in La Bamba at the start where the airplane crashed and fell.
My gosh.
Yeah, I have a real issue with airplanes.
Because I suggested that we should get away, Stacey and I, for a little holiday.
I was like, do you want to go to Echuca?
Yeah, which is a 3-hour drive from where we live. Because I was like, well, why don't we go to Byron or something? And did that conversation make you feel panicked?
Yeah. Well, when I turned 40, my husband organised a trip to Port Douglas.
Yeah.
And when he gave me the paper, you know, whatever that said we're going to Port Douglas, I was like, oh, thanks. And he's like, what? And I was just like, God, when we actually got on that flight, I had a full, as soon as we got on board, I put on an eye mask. I put my music on full blast and just zoned out.
Did you have a Valium?
No, I didn't, because the time I flew before that, the doctor gave me a Valium, but I also drank.
Valium.
And I also drank.
That's dumb.
And I was still shit scared, but then I chucked my guts up for the rest of the night when we got there. So it's, I remember when my family took us to Hawaii when I was about 12. And the week before we left, I had watched, it was like one of those daytime movies, and it was called Miracle Landing, and it was about a Hawaiian airline where like a quarter of the fuselage ripped off in mid-flight.
What's a fuselage?
The top of the plane, so like the roof. So it was basically fuselage.
Fuselage.
But this is the thing. I'm quite knowledgeable with plane stuff. I'm so terrified, but I'm fascinated by air crash investigation. So I'll be watching it, and I know that when you're about to crash, it says too low terrain, too low terrain. Like I know, and even when I'm on a flight and we're coming into land, it's like I can hear that computer. I've heard where they're going 100, 90, 80 just before they touch down. And I'm like, this massive machine full of fuel is coming in at that speed to hit the ground on those little
apparently more people die from being kicked by a donkey every year than by a plane crash.
I know the statistics. People
so can you go and get hypnotized for it?
But I don't travel enough to warrant it.
Yeah, but it is limiting. Like you're literally trapped.
Well, this is the thing. If somebody said to me tomorrow, oh, hey, here's a ticket to go overseas,
you wouldn't go.
I would seriously think about it. But I would be, how am I going to get through that flight?
Like your family's Italian. Wouldn't you love to go to Italy and visit
I would.
Relatives?
But the thought of that flight really freaks me out.
We should hypnotize you. We should do a thing and see if it actually works because people can be hypnotized to get over things like that because all fears are irrational, but it's just there's something in you that maybe could be swapped around so you don't have that fear.
I think it's just the lack of control too, thinking, okay, I'm in this tube.
Yeah.
I'm up in the air. If something happens, what's the likelihood of me? And the thought of burning.
It'd be such a shit way to go down, wouldn't it?
That conscious knowing.
Yeah.
Oh
you know God. What my biggest fear is outside of, the obviouses. Let's not go the obvious. Like I'm absolutely in health anxiety at the moment, thinking everything is cancer and we're all fucked.
Yeah.
But what outside of those rational thoughts, sharks are my biggest fear.
Yeah, but see, you're quite obsessed with it. This is what I mean. Sometimes your fear becomes an obsession because you actually... I don't know what the word is. Like you're in wonder over them.
Yes.
So you will have, I've seen pictures people have done of you with a shark and all that sort of stuff. I think you actually love them. You just don't want to be anywhere near them.
Yeah, I am totally and utterly obsessed with them. And I was ever since I was a little girl. We used to go and stay with my grandparents. They would have a place in Surfers Paradise and we'd go and stay with them every school holidays and we'd always go to SeaWorld. And I would literally, my nan would go, all right, Pa, you take Tara, my sister, and Nan would just sit with me and they used to have like almost this open enclosure where you could look at the sharks. And I would sit there for hours. And Nan would be like, do you want to go somewhere else? I'm like, no. And I just watch the sharks go around and around.
Were you scared then?
No, I wasn't scared, but I was fascinated. And this was so weird. I don't know if anyone else remembers SeaWorld way back in the day, but it was like a massive, where the penguins were. But there were sharks going around where the penguins were as well. And you could sit up the top. So you couldn't dangle your feet in. There was a good metre between you and the water.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But and I just remember I'd sit there and almost go, okay, I'd plan out even as a young kid, okay, if I fall in here, what am I going to do? I would quickly race over to where the middle, it was, Anyway, and we watched Jaws when we were really, really young, way too young, and it just scarred me. And even now, I cannot go past my knees and feel comfortable.
Yeah, see, that wouldn't be a good way to go either. Imagine a leg coming off and then going, oh, God.
It'd be so unbelievably scary. And there's not one part of me that feels comfortable in the ocean. Not one part of me.
No, me either. Me either. Give me a pool. I'm happy with a pool.
Yeah, I would love to go. You know how some people go out and they go swimming, but they're just not. I'm like, I literally go past my knees and I panic. Like when Sam goes out further, I'm like, come back now. Come back now.
Have you got your Wahoo vest on?
How wrapped is Wahoo that sun damage is such a huge thing now? Guys, so we've got these balls we're going to sell, but now the plethora of things that they can sell.
I know.
You're coughing because you've got coronavirus.
No, I haven't, but I have been so sick. Like last week, I was crying sick. I felt that bad. And I never go to the doctor.
Is the last time you cried when your husband went away when you were first together for a month and you vomited?
No.
You missed him so much.
No. No, it wasn't that. Oh, no, I've cried since then. Are you joking? I cry every 5 minutes. No, but going to the doctor and And I haven't cried like that from being sick.
You were just in that much pain. That's
felt so awful. And anyway, so I go to the doctor, and on the front door of the doctor's office, there's a poster, and it says, if you have any of the following symptoms, let the receptionist know.
Right.
So there was sore throat, runny nose, shortness of breath, tightness in the chest. All stuff that I had, right? And then at the bottom it said, and if you've recently been to China, make sure you alert us. So I walk in and I say to the receptionist, I just thought I'd let you know I've got all the symptoms on that door and I haven't been to China. I'm not even joking, almost fell off her chair, ran away from me into the doorway of the back office, poked her head around, and she goes, so when was it that you got back from China?
Oh, my God.
And I said, no, I haven't been to China. She goes, oh. And when she walked out, I saw she was pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay,
she must
fair
have
enough.
shit herself.
Yeah.
But I was like,
oh, my God, how God. I just love the visual of the wheelie chair scooting back and her running off as fast as she can.
Which I was like, what? I haven't been to China.
We had Dr. Joe Scroy on. He's like our resident at Kiss FM who we call on. He's actually an obstetrician, but he's trained in other areas. And he is like, because I'm like, everyone's going insane over the coronavirus. Like people are, like, there's no toilet paper on the shelves in supermarkets in a lot of places.
Well, I went to Chemist Warehouse the other day.
And they're restricting the hand sanitizer.
Well, I went to buy hand sanitizer and I went to the section where it is and I thought, they've done a bloody remodel. And when I went to pay, he goes, sorry, we're totally sold out.
Yeah, so now they're going, okay, you can only have like one or two things. Like they're just stockpiling everything. My producer who I work with on 3PM Pickup, stockpiling cans.
What?
Yumi, who I work with, is doing water and like crackers and stuff. And I'm like, are we going insane here? Is this like the Y2K bug where my friend's dad literally had a bunker full of stuff? Like literally a bunker in case the world ended. And I feel like this is what's happening now.
Listen, I'm a highly anxious person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I haven't thought twice about this.
I said to Sam, my partner, last night, I'm like, are we not taking this serious enough?
No, because the majority of the people who have died have been elderly or have underlying respiratory conditions.
Yeah.
There have been no fatalities in children under 9.
Yeah.
So, and I think the bracket of, say, 30 to 40 or 30 to 45 is like it's like 0.4% of people that have had it have died. So I think it's just like almost like if you got a really severe flu. Yeah,
but then even some of the symptoms don't even go into full flu. Like you could feel like you got a cold and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like obviously I think I forget who said, but in Victoria, I think it was last year or the year before. I shouldn't do stats. I always say this because I always get them wrong. But there was 66,000 cases of the flu.
Yeah.
And we're like freaking out about this.
I know.
I reckon the Olympics aren't going to go ahead.
No.
Like, I reckon all the borders on every country is just going to be shut down.
For sure. And the thing that really scares me about this, though, is it's not even the actual coronavirus. It's that thought of things being transmitted so easily. It's in the air. Someone coughs. You got it. And hand sanitizer, I also read, is a bit of bullshit.
Well, I've read that apparently, if you want to know more about it, apparently the Four Corners story they did on it. Yumi's like, you've got to watch the Four Corners story. I'm like, I'm not buying into the scaremonger of this bullshit. And it's like, if we get it and we're in lockdown for 2 weeks, that's like, I just, at the moment, am like, nah, I'm not going to do it.
God, imagine someone comes into this studio like that.
Oh, I'd be fucked. We'd be we're recording today at Kiss where I work, but we've got to go because Will and Woody, who do the show after hours, are out there, and so I'm trying to not catch their eye contact because they need to use the studio, but they're staying there, so we've got to go. Hey, anyway, so thank you. Short one today, but quickie's a goodie.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
That's
always.
what I say to me partner all the time. Quick one's a good one. No kissing on the mouth. Please keep your emails coming in. We're loving them. Stacey at showandtellonline.com.au. She reads them all. You can also hit us up on our Instagram, Show and Tell Online. We have a new podcast as well, which is Tell Me More. We're getting on different guests and experts and stuff like that. So now you've got 2 podcasts from us coming into your earballs. Bye, you guys.